So we will start with the Week 12 review. I went 10-4 last week. My record's 116, 59-1 on the year. So Thursday Night Football was fun. It was the Texans and Colts. I picked the Texans. They did not cover the spread. They lost the spread by half a point, which I was pretty upset about because I did pick the Texans to cover, but they still won the game outright. Buccaneers and Falcons. I mean, I was against the Falcons the last 2 weeks. Then I start to buy in, and the Falcons go back to their old ways. It was very annoying, honestly. The Falcons defense once again looked like crap. Jameis Winston and Chris Godwin had big games in that one, so credit to their offense for putting up some good numbers. But the Falcons defense, I don't know. I can't figure them out. The Broncos and Bills. The Bills had control of this game throughout. I mean, Brendan Allen did nothing this game, and Josh Allen looked pretty good. And Josh Allen's been cutting down on the turnovers lately, so definitely good for him. He might have had one interception in this game, but over the last 3 games, he's looked a lot better. The Giants and Bears. I mean, the Giants defense still not good, and they just can't get out of their own way. Simple as that. The Steelers and Bengals. So I picked the Steelers to win, but I picked the Bengals to cover, and that's exactly what happened. I got lucky by half a point, so it was a 6.5 point spread. Bengals lost by 6 points, so I lucked out there. I won some money with that one. The Dolphins and Browns. I lost money here, so this one was I think a plus 10.5 for the Dolphins. I thought that was too many points for a team like the Browns, but the Dolphins came back at one point. They were down 11 points, I think, in the third quarter. Couple more turnovers, and that game was over. The Browns scored like 40 points. They won that one very easily, so good for them. Jarvis Landry, nice revenge game for him against his former team. The Panthers at Saints. This was a very good one, and if Joey Sly, the kicker for the Panthers, made his kicks, they probably win that game, but unfortunately he missed a couple, and the Saints took that one. So the Saints defense is not the same without Marshawn Lattimore, that's for sure, so that's definitely concerning. We'll see what they do, and if he plays this Thursday, that's definitely a big thing for that game. The Raiders at Jets. I mean, I wanted to say the Jets. I mean, if you watched last week, I was very tempted to say the Jets, and I just couldn't pull the trigger, and I just said, you know what, the Raiders are the better team, but the Jets killed them. It was like 34-3 or some crazy score like that. Derek Carr was pulled in like the third quarter. Got to give Sam Darnold some credit. The Jets defense did a nice job with the turnovers as well. There was a turning point in that game. I remember I saw it was Tyrell Williams had a wide open catch that would have been like a 40 or 50 yard gain. Hit him right in the chest, right in the hands, and he dropped it. And since then, the Raiders just took a nosedive for the worse. And it was not good. So give the Jets some credit there. The Lions at Redskins. I picked the Lions. This one was annoying because the Redskins scored on a kickoff that was dropped, and then somehow special teams did not make the tackle. I think it was that Steven Sims guy who also had a touchdown against the Patriots earlier this year. He's just a speedster, and it was annoying. I mean, Dwayne Haskins played like crap, and that's kind of what I expected. And Jeff Driscoll played a lot worse than he did the previous weeks. And I think he had a couple interceptions in this game, a couple of costly ones as well in the fourth quarter. So that's not good for him. He's not even playing on Thursday. He's ruled out already. I think he's considered a backup on Thursday night or Thursday day, I guess we can call it, for Thanksgiving, whatever you want to call it. The Seahawks at Eagles. This was a good one, but it was frustrating because I wrote the Eagles one. That's definitely not correct. The Seahawks won that game, so my bad on that. But the Seahawks won this game, and it was frustrating because the Seahawks could never put them away. I mean, DK Metcalf dropped a bunch of passes. I wouldn't say drop, but they were like just out of the reach. Russell Wilson had a pretty bad game, probably his worst game of the year. He missed a wide open touchdown for Hollister at one point in the end zone. Missed a lot of throws to Metcalf as well. So the Eagles could not get anything going on offense. They need their guys back. No Jordan Howard, no Nelson Aguilar, and no Alshon Jeffrey as well, so they couldn't get anything going offensively, and that's kind of why they lost that game. Carson Wentz looked pretty bad as well. The Jaguars at Titans. So I picked the Titans to win this one. I expected a low-scoring game, but I think the Titans put up like 40 points in this game, so that was not the case. Derrick Henry absolutely owns the Jaguars, and Ryan Tannehill played very well. The Cowboys and Patriots. I did expect the Patriots to win this one. I had the Cowboys covering, so that was good. The conditions there were not good, obviously, but Tom Brady looked pretty good. I made a video about it. I think he looked good in that game. Dak Prescott, the first half was awful, but he got better, but it was too late at that point. And Jason Garrett with a very questionable 4th and 7 decision to kick a field goal down by like 7 points at the end, so I was a little confused by that. But anyway, the Packers at 49ers. So the 49ers took that one very easily. The Packers offense could not get anything going, really. I think they scored with Devontae Adams at the end, but for the most part, the Niners offense was great in that game. Jimmy Garoppolo had a very nice game statistically. And the Ravens at Rams. So I don't know why the spread was so close in that game. I picked the Ravens to cover, and they won that game by like 40 points, it feels like. Lamar Jackson just running away with the MVP at this point, so good for him, and the Ravens took that one very easily. And maybe the Ravens are the best team in football right now. You can definitely make the argument, so it's good to see that for them. And their secondary has been unbelievable as well since Marcus Peters has been traded. So that's it for the Week 12 review, and we'll get into Week 13 now. So the first game, we start with the Chicago Bears, who are a -5 now against the Detroit Lions, who will be at home. The problem is the Lions are on their third-string quarterback now, someone named David Blau, who I watched a little bit of. I literally watched 2 minutes of him, and he's not that bad, honestly. I mean, I think to cover 5 points, I think the Lions do cover this game. My dumbass bet the Lions when they were -1 before Jeff Driscoll got hurt, so I'm already stuck with that. So, I mean, I guess I'm stuck with it now, but hopefully the Lions win that game. I think Chicago should win this game, but I'm going to go with Detroit, mainly because I already bet on them, and I feel like they have enough weapons to beat this team. Chicago's offense is pretty awful. I mean, it took a very bad Giants defense to get them going last week, so I'll go with Detroit to win this game. I don't feel good about it, and of course I'll have them cover the spread as well. So maybe this David Blau guy in his first career start on Thanksgiving just surprises all of us. We've seen it done before. I mean, not on Thanksgiving, but I mean, it's been done. So, I mean, hopefully the Lions can come through in that game. The next one for Thanksgiving at 4:30 is the Buffalo Bills at the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, it's a -6.5 for the Dallas Cowboys. I like Buffalo to cover that once again, so I have both teams covering here. I think Buffalo will put up a very good fight. I mean, this is their biggest game of the year, Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo hasn't beaten anybody great this year, and neither has Dallas. So, I mean, you look at both of these teams, you're like, well, how legit are they? And these are two teams that need to prove something. So I think both these teams will come out and put up good performances, but I don't think one team blows out the other to be a surprise to me, honestly. I think, it's Dallas's defense against Josh Allen kind of scares me in a way, but I think they'll be able to do enough. I think Josh Allen will do enough with his legs in this game to keep the Bills offense, moving and putting up points on the board. So I think the Bills cover, and I don't have the balls to say they win this game outright, so I'll go with the Cowboys to win this one outright, but I think the Bills do cover that game. The last one on Thanksgiving night, 8:20 game, New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints are a -6.5 right now, which is a fair number. And I mean, I really don't know what to think about the Falcons right now, so I can't give any good advice or any good guess about this game whatsoever. Of course, I'd pick the Saints to win this game outright, but to cover the spread, I mean, I feel like that's a lot of points. But Atlanta at the same time has the ability to be a terrible team sometimes. I mean, sometimes their defense shows up and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, sometimes they would allow 35 points and sometimes they allow less than 10. So, I mean, I really don't know what to think about this team right now. I think New Orleans gets their revenge because they had a nice win against New Orleans at home 2 weeks ago when New Orleans was home. So I think maybe there's like a payback factor here. I think New Orleans does cover the spread. I mean, it's tough to say, obviously. We don't know about the injury report. I don't know if Lattimore is playing for the Saints. I don't know if Julio Jones is playing for the Falcons. These are big things. So off the top of my head, I'll say that the Saints cover the spread and win the game outright. But of course, we won't know the whole story until the injury report is out. But right now, that's what I'll go with. So on the Sunday now, first we have the New York Jets at the Cincinnati Bengals. The big news here is that Andy Dalton is back as the starting quarterback, and I'm not sure if A.J. Green's going to play for Cincinnati. I would say no, because there's no point in him coming back on a contract year, but we'll see what happens there. So the Jets are on the road here. The Jets have came off 3 straight wins now, I think it is, which is impressive. I mean, they didn't have the best opponents. Their win last week against the Raiders was very impressive, but the 2 weeks before that, I think, was Washington and the Giants, so it wasn't, they weren't the best wins, but still, they're playing much better football. This is a typical game that the Jets would lose, but I'm going to go with them to win this game and cover. I mean, 3 points isn't that much, so I think the Jets do cover this game and win, but I'm not too confident in it because I've seen this act before with the Jets where, they build up their fans and act like everything's going to, go well for them, and then they blow a game like this in Cincinnati. So, like I said with the Jets last week, it wouldn't shock me if they somehow won last week, and it wouldn't shock me if they somehow lose this week. So it's a different thing, but that's what I go with. I say the Jets win this game and cover, even though it's kind of a risky thing. So next we have Tennessee at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are -2.5 right now. The Colts have the mini bye coming off a Thursday night game. Tennessee beat the living crap out of Jacksonville last week. I think that was in Tennessee, so it wasn't on the road, but still a very impressive win. So I'm going to go with Tennessee in this one. I mean, I'm not too confident in this one because, I think both teams are pretty equal, honestly. But, I mean, Tennessee's coming off that great game Indianapolis does not have a healthy T.Y. Hilton, obviously. I mean, he might play this game, but we're not sure. I mean, he was on a pitch count last time. They just put Eric Ebron on the IR. So, I mean, Indy's defense also hasn't been fantastic. I mean, it's been all right this year, but it's a defense that people can score on, and Ryan Tannehill, as the Tennessee quarterback, has been putting up some good numbers for this team, honestly, and Derrick Henry gets better as the year goes on, it seems like. I mean, this is what happened last year, and we're doing the same thing this year as well, so I'll go with Tennessee to win this game and cover. Next game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Miami Dolphins. So Philly's getting a lot healthier. I saw a tweet today that a lot of the guys are coming back. I think Alshon Jeffrey, Jordan Howard, maybe Nelson Aguilar. Maybe it's better if Aguilar sits out. But still, they had some guys from like the practice squad playing last week at receiver. So, I mean, this Philly offense needs some help, and they might get it back this week. And Miami, I had them covering last week. I think this week I'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game and cover the spread. I know 10 points is a lot to win by, but it's at Miami. Should be good weather. Carson Wentz is yet to have a fantastic game this year. I think he played well in some games. I think back to that Week 2 Atlanta game, he played very well in my opinion, but his receivers let him down. But I think this is a game where maybe they put up some big points, and I think Miami has looked impressive over the last month and a half. But I think I think this Eagles team is still good. I mean, I hate to say it, their secondary has been getting better. Their defense overall has been getting better. They got some guys back from injury, so they are looking better at least. So I'll go with Philadelphia to win this game and cover the 9.5-point spread. Up next, we have the Green Bay Packers, a -6.5 on the road against my New York Giants. And honestly, I thought it'd be 9.5. So to see 6.5, I'm kind of surprised by it. So I'll make it fast and simple. I think Green Bay cover this game and wins this game. I think it should have been closer to 10 points. All I have to do is win by a touchdown. Basically, the Giants can't stop anybody. I think Green Bay's their offense has some flaws, but the Giants can't stop anybody. All they'll do is put Devontae Adams in the slot and just absolutely exploit any bad matchup with the slot corner for the Giants, Corey Ballantyne or whoever's playing there. I don't know if Grant Haley's going to play this week, but they'll find a way to put up a lot of points, Green Bay. I think they cover the spread pretty easily, and honestly, I should probably bet that before it goes up. So next we have the Washington Redskins coming off their second win of the year. They go on the road to the Carolina Panthers. So the Panthers are a -9.5. Carolina coming off a game in New Orleans that they probably should have won. I talked about it before, the 2 missed field goals by their kicker. So Washington last week, I wasn't too impressed with their win. I do sound like a Washington hater because I wasn't a fan of what Haskins did with the selfie, but they kind of got lucky last week. They had a kickoff return for a touchdown, and I just feel like a lot of things went their way. There was a Bo Scarborough fumble for the Lions, and then Jeff Driscoll had the 2 interceptions as well. So Washington had a lot of things go their way. And Kyle Allen, before last game was having a terrible month, but he looked a lot better in that Saints game. So I think they'll win this game. I think they'll cover it as well, the Panthers, so I'll go with that. I'm not buying Washington because of one win. I think they'll go back to their old ways, so I think Carolina wins this game and covers that 9.5-point spread. Next, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one I don't know where to go with because Jacksonville, I always say I like picking teams coming off a very bad loss, but I don't know if Jacksonville is a good team. I don't know if I could put them in that category. Nick Foles has definitely not looked fantastic since coming back. He's looked average, I would say. But Tampa Bay, I mean, this is a situation where you can see Jameis Winston have a 4 or 5 turnover game. I wouldn't put it past them because Jacksonville, while their secondary hasn't been great this year, ever since Ramsey left especially, they don't have they have a great pass rush still. And we know Tampa Bay, their offensive line has its issues, and their quarterback, Jameis Winston, has his turnover issues. So this might be a game where they sack him 6-7 times and they create a few fumbles, and maybe Jacksonville wins this one on the back of their defense. But I guess I'll go with Tampa Bay to win and cover. I mean, all they have to do is win the game. It's a 1-point spread. So I think right now Tampa Bay is the better team. They're more well-coached and all that kind of stuff. And, they're coming off a win last week. That was a pretty nice win against Atlanta. So, I mean, I'll go with Tampa Bay to win this one. But it also wouldn't shock me from what I said before if Jacksonville's defensive line ruins this game. So we'll see. But I'll go with Tampa Bay to win and cover. Next is the game of the week. So right now it's a -6. It's the San Francisco 49ers. Travel across the country to go to the Baltimore Ravens. It's a shame this game is not a Sunday night game or a Monday night game. I prefer Sunday night. I'm a big Al Michaels fan, but it's a shame it's a 1 o'clock game and mixed in with all these other games. But it is what it is. I guess they can't switch it now. So this is probably the game of the year, and I do think Baltimore wins this game. To cover 6 points, though, that's a lot. I mean, Lamar Jackson has passed every task this year. I mean, and people, when they played New England, were like, oh, the Lamar Jackson show is over now. But no, he passed that test as well. So I think Baltimore wins this game and covers that spread. I really do. I for some reason, I just feel like Baltimore is riding high right now. And sometimes it's not good because the team that's the hottest in November isn't the hottest when the playoffs come around, and sometimes it works like that. I mean, that's why I'm not worried about the Patriots. They're not playing their best football right now, but when they need to play their best football, they'll turn around. So Baltimore right now, while they're still hot, I'll go with them to win this game and cover that 6-point spread. But of course, the Niners are a good team, so you never know what's going to happen. But Baltimore's secondary has been unbelievable, so I think they'll give Jimmy Garoppolo some issues. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 6-5 versus 5-6 matchup. It's pretty big for the wild card, honestly. I mean, most people think the Browns are absolutely finished. I think they still have a slight chance to make the playoffs, but if they lose this game, their hopes are over. So right now, Cleveland's at -2. The big news here is that Mason Rudolph is benched for Delvin Duck Hodges, whatever you want to call him. So, I mean, it's interesting because these guys played 2 weeks ago, obviously, and they had the whole Myles Garrett incident with the helmet. There's probably conspiracies out there that's why he's being benched, but honestly, he played like crap last week, so I really don't see why there'd be a conspiracy about this. I mean, Hodges gives them the better chance to win, it feels like right now, and Pittsburgh is still in the playoff race, and Mike Tomlin recognizes that, so he wants to go with his best option. And right now, they're on to their third quarterback, basically, and they're still 6-5, so you got to give their coaching staff, and especially their defense, a lot of credit for hanging in there. But Cleveland played their best game, all-around game, on last Sunday against the Dolphins, and of course it's not the best opponent, but Baker Mayfield in the first half was unbelievable. I think he scored like 4 touchdowns on his first 5 drives, and their offense was looking great. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, all those guys getting involved. Nick Chubb had a big game as well, so I don't know. I mean, I root for Cleveland. I kind of want them to succeed, so I'll go with them to win this game. I'm not too confident in this pick. It's more of just like in my heart, I want Cleveland to win this game. But of course, Pittsburgh defense at home could be an issue for Baker Mayfield. But I'll go with Cleveland to win this game and cover the 2-point spread. Next, the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. We move into the 4 o'clock games now. So right now the Rams are at -3. They're coming off a really bad loss on Monday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't know, Arizona's coming off a bye, and I have a pretty strong feel for this game. I want to go with Arizona. I mean, I've been a big fan of Arizona all year. I feel like some people are a fan of them and some people aren't buying into them yet, but I've been bought in for a while. I mean, I'm a big Kyler Murray guy. I don't think the rest of that team is that bad. I mean, they do have some pass rushers on that team that can get to Jared Goff. Of course, their offensive line's been an issue. They have Chandler Jones and Terrell Suggs that can get to the quarterback, so I don't know if the Rams can play defense against Kyler Murray either. I mean, they have 2 weeks to prepare for this game. I like what Cliff Kingsbury's done for that team this year, so I think right now I have Arizona to win this game and, of course, cover that 3-point spread. Right now they're +3, so of course I have them covering, so I'll go with the Arizona Cardinals for the upset there. Next game is a big one, so it's a big matchup in their division. The Oakland Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. So if the Raiders beat the Jets last week like they were supposed to, this would have been a tie division. It would have been a much better game. But right now, KC is a -9.5 at home, and I thought it'd be a little bit closer than that. I mean, 10 points to cover is a lot, but the Raiders look very bad. They have some flaws, obviously. They just lost Hunter Renfrow for a while. I don't know if it's for the year, but he's out for a little while at least. So I don't know. KC's coming off a bye. I trust Andy Reid coming off a bye. I think they beat them by a lot in this game. Maybe 10 points or more, 10 to 17 points, which would mean they cover that spread. So I'll take Kansas City to win that game and cover the spread as well. Up next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos. I think the Chargers coming off a bye. I'm not sure about Denver. Denver played last week. They played the Bills. Denver had a rough game in Buffalo last week. The Chargers, as I said, coming off a bye. They get Derwin James, their safety, back for the first time this year, which is definitely big news for them, so that's good to see. I'll go with the Chargers to win that game. I feel like, playing in Denver is hard, but I think they'll be fine. The Chargers are getting healthier, and Phillip Rivers wants to win still, and there's no tanking in San Diego or Los Angeles for the Chargers right now. For Sunday Night Football this week, it's the New England Patriots at the Houston Texans. I feel like this is a game the Patriots could give away, but I don't know. You can't really bet against New England at this point. It's only a -3. Deshaun Watson didn't look. I'm trying to think who they played last week. They played on Thursday night. So yeah, Deshaun Watson looked pretty good. I would say for the most part, but against a team like New England, I don't know. He might struggle. I mean, they do have their offensive line issues, of course, in Houston. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is a game where New England's offense might figure things out. And I mean, Tom Brady has been very vocal about their offense and their struggles. So this might be a game where they get things right. And I think New England wins this game and covers a 3-point spread as well. Last game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. I think this game will be fantastic. I think it'll be down to the wire. I don't know who to pick, honestly. But for the sake of this video, this is tough. I mean, I'll go with Seattle, all because of Kirk Cousins and not winning, primetime games against teams over 500. I don't know what his record is, but it's not good. So based off that one stat and that one thought alone, I'll go with Seattle. But I don't feel good about it either. I think this is a game Minnesota could definitely win, and it's definitely a big game for them as well, because you would think the Packers probably win their matchup against the Giants, and then Minnesota does not want to be any further back, so they should probably want to win this game a lot. So I'll go with Seattle to win that game and cover the 3-point spread. So that'll do it for this video. Let me know in the comments your picks of the week. And for the trolls that want to comment that I'm an idiot and don't know anything, can you at least give me some of your picks? Because I just don't understand calling someone an idiot and then not backing it up. It just makes no sense. So hopefully you guys do that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time.